Clemson game this evening?
Have to, man. I'm Alabama native, man. Biggest Bama fan it is, man, in the country.
I'm gonna get their ass whooped tonight,
No,
man.
not tonight, man. Not tonight. That's what they say every year, Fred. You know.
They gonna get beat tonight, man. I'm saying it right now. Alabama loses tonight. Even though I'm going for Alabama, they gonna lose, man.
You can't go for Alabama and say that's like going for the Outlaws saying they gonna lose, man.
Hey,
you can't do that.
Hey, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, sometimes.
Man. Give me 3 keys to success for Alabama tonight.
I mean, it's only one. We just got to win in the trenches. You know what I mean? Look, because Clemson, man, probably going to be the best defensive line they ain't seen all year, man.
I agree.
Them dudes nasty on their D-line.
Right.
Now, the difference in past former Alabama teams and Alabama teams now, Nick moved more into the new school of football. Like, it's not the ground and pound, stuff like that. I think he's going to have to do more of that tonight and control the tempo of the game. We can't get in the shootout with Clemson, man. That's how they built.
So let me ask you this. You think that freshman quarterback is good enough to move the ball against Alabama's stingy defense?
I think what he has around him is going to allow him to have some success tonight. Man, Alabama defense, I'm going to be honest with you, Fred, man. As good as we've been in the past, man, they look kind of suspect to me against Oklahoma, man. The one thing that helped us out is we came out and punched them in the mouth early, you know, but hey, once they got to roll in the second half, I don't know if we won the second half, man. You know, we won the first half, and after that, you know, it was a pretty even ball game.
I'm gonna give you my perspective on it. First and foremost, I definitely believe that Alabama's gonna come into the game overconfident. Now, that's not a trait that Alabama teams normally possess. You know, a Nick Saban coach team comes in focused, ready to rock and roll, and normally they come in as the favorite. Tonight, they'll definitely come in as a favorite. However, I have a strong feeling that if Clemson can hang off in there for that first quarter, that momentum and confidence is slowly going to build up to where they may give Alabama some problems.
And that's the key. That's what you just said, man. If they can hang in there that first quarter. I agree with you on that. Now, one thing that I don't agree with you with is that, man, I've coached with you. And I've coached with you for years. And, man, I joke with you about being Nick Saban. So the thing is this, man, Nick is not going to let his team come in overconfident.
I don't know.
As a coach, he's not going to let that happen, man.
It's going to be tough. Nick Saban's one of my favorites, man. But, you know, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to see what the spread is on the game. You know, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, pull that spread up for me real quick if you can, man. If that spread is more than double digits,
it's not.
Okay.
At least I don't think so. Let me go back and check.
Well, look, while you pulling that up, man, this is my thought process on Alabama. They definitely come in with an edge coaching wise, even though Dabo Swinney, in my opinion, is a great coach, great motivator. You know, he normally gets the best out of his kids.
He does.
He gets the best out of his kids. You know, not always the most talented, but those guys will run through a brick wall for Dabo. If I'm not mistaken, that's where we got the dab from, right?
Yeah, they say Dabo is the player's coach. You know,
right.
Dabo is more like, okay, we'll put it like this. You more Nick Saban, I'm more Dabo.
Dabo, right. So the whole thing is Dabo's going to get everything out those kids tonight. They're going to be willing to run through that brick wall for him. I feel as if they can just come out and compete that first quarter, build up a little bit of confidence, you know, don't allow Alabama to put up more than one touchdown in that first quarter, I think the tide may turn.
It's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. The thing is that Alabama going to put up more than one touchdown in the first quarter.
I don't think so tonight.
The way they roll. Now, the thing is this. Are we going to be able to stop Clemson from putting up more than one touchdown in the first quarter as well? That's what I'm saying. I agree with what you're saying, but the thing is, we do not want to get in a shootout with Clemson. If we get into a shootout, man, it's not going to look good for us. We have to get out control of the tempo of the ball game, man. That means, hey, look, a lot of Josh Jacobs, man. A lot of Jacobs, man.
Right.
A lot of Jacobs, man. The way he ran the football against Oklahoma, hey, man, that's my go-to guy right now.
Okay, quick question. If Tua struggles, do we see Jalen tonight?
Whether Tua struggle or not, man, I feel that Jalen should get an opportunity to play tonight, man. This may be Jalen's last time putting on the Alabama uniform. But what he's done in the past for that particular team, hey, man, you got to let the guy play in the game tonight. I don't care what situation it is. He's proved that he can do it. He basically got us here with the Georgia victory. So
basically what you're saying is based on his body of work, he deserves an opportunity tonight.
He deserves an opportunity tonight. Now, starting him, no. We got to go out with Tua, man. Tua proved as well.
Right.
Man, we got two good quarterbacks, man. Nick's blessed with a great situation, man.
Look, I was always taught that if you got two quarterbacks, you don't have one. That's the school of thought that I was brought up on. So, and that's why I asked the question. Tonight, it's all or nothing. It's win or go home, right? So I think that's going to be an issue for Alabama because if for whatever reason, if that offense struggles and Jalen Hurts has to come in, and I'm pulling for Hurts. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I like Tua, but I want to see Hurts get in the game. I just don't think that it may not be the right move in the championship game unless Tua is struggling.
It's depending on the
so
situation.
much that, but I can't see him going back and forth the whole game.
Well, the thing is, Tua not going to struggle. I mean, hey, man, Tua got the most accurate quarterback, man, I've seen in college football. He's not going to struggle. Now, the thing is if he gets hurt, you may see more of Jalen. But whether Tua's struggling or not, I think we're going to see Jalen sparingly. I think he's going to get in and get a few plays. Same as Oklahoma game.
Right.
I think he should, I'm not saying let Jalen get in and run a whole half or nothing like that, but I think he deserves to get a few plays so he can, that he played in the 2019 National Championship game. He actually contributed to the game. He deserved that.
Let me ask you this question. With you being probably the biggest Alabama fan that I know personally, outside of my father-in-law, is it effective to put Jalen Hurts at the receiver position? I've seen him do that a couple of times, and I really wonder what's the purpose.
It's just not. Look, man, the only reason why I feel like, and I'm not Nick Saban or a college coach or anything like that you put two quarterbacks on the field, is it some sort of trick play?
Right.
You can run a double pass or something like that, but just lining them up out there to receive, I mean, that's with the receiver that Alabama have now.
Right.
Hey, man, you don't want to take one of them out, man, for a play or two just to throw Jalen in and say he's on the field.
Right.
I mean, them guys putting in work, know.
So does that kind of remind you of Little League football when you just throw a guy on the field just to say you got him on the field to keep his confidence
It's
up?
just like Little League football. It's just like Little League football. And we'll talk about that later, the comparison to what's going on in college now in Little League football.
Okay. Those are good takes, man. Once again, I'm pulling for Alabama.
Don't sound like it, but okay.
I'm pulling for Alabama. I think it's going to be a good game, but my gut tells me that an upset is on the rising.
Honestly, man, with me being a Bama fan, I have to say, I have to say we're going to win. But truth be told, man, anytime you playing on the stage like tonight, man, that game go either way. I don't care what Alabama did all season, what Clemson did all season. They both were good enough to make it to the national championship game. So it's not one clear favorite. They both. It's going who go out and play the who's going to execute well and play the hardest, man, for 4 quarters. I do feel like I said earlier, that game is going to be won in the trenches, man. Clemson's D-line against Alabama's O-line. Clemson's O-line against Alabama's D-line. That's where that game is going to be won and lost at.
Who has more pressure on them tonight to win, Alabama or Clemson?
Alabama. Alabama had more pressure on them to win because, man, we're always number one.
Right.
We always there. Dabo, man, he can go out tonight, man. It's no pressure. Like what we just said to predictions, they're not expected to win.
Right.
So it's no pressure. They just go out and play football, and that's what's always scary when when you're not expected to win. You know how that can go.
That is the primary reason why I see Clemson upsetting the Tide tonight. I feel like they're gonna go out, no pressure, bust their ass, and just play to win. You know, it's house money. It's house money. Now, let's say Alabama does win tonight. What does the future hold for Nick Saban? Is there anything else for this man to prove if they win tonight?
I think if he win tonight, he either ties or go one ahead of Bear Bryant. So that's going to make him the king of Alabama. I'm not going to necessarily say anything else for him to prove. And honestly, man, I don't see him moving on to the NFL again. I think Nick's going to retire right there at Alabama, man. He may, I'm not saying now or the next 2 years, but I think he's going to finish his coaching career out at Alabama. Probably would be my last one as well, man. I did everything I can with this university over the last 10 to 12 years. I, helped bring you guys, 5 or 6 national championships.
Right.
We're there consistently. Hey, man, I'm getting old. It's time for me to go ahead and retire.
Start drinking beers.
Yeah, man, it's time for me to retire.
Hanging out on the beach.
There's nothing else for me to do here, man.
Man, look, let's give a shout out to Clemson and Alabama.
No doubt.
For always offering opportunities to these Texas kids.
No doubt.
Right, you got 2 of the premier college programs in the nation, and they consistently come down to Texas and handpick some of our best kids. Now, we know that we like to keep that talent here in Texas, but you can't be mad when you see these kids moving on to the next level at those type of programs.
Definitely. I love it because I'm Alabama native, so when them Texas kids go, they helping us out. But no, man, it is a big shout out to them, man, because they are giving a lot of kids opportunities and still doing it, man. I know a lot of kids right now that's getting offers from Alabama and Clemson, that we've coached.
Right.
And hopefully they all commit to Alabama. But you know how it is, as long as they go and get the education. But while we on the topic of Texas, man, let's give a shout out to the Texas Longhorns, man, for beating Georgia in that bowl game.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, man, I was a skeptic. I didn't think that Texas had what it took to beat Georgia, but I was definitely proud to see the state of Texas get behind those Longhorns, man, and get that victory. I think that's going to help the Longhorns definitely when it comes to recruiting for this 2019 season.
Oh, man,
hopefully they can now begin to jump in some of these high schools systems and start to pull some of those Texas kids, man, to stay within Texas.
2020 prediction, the Longhorns will be in the college football playoffs.
Well, I hope so. I mean, they were pretty close this year. Dropped, I know they dropped, who did they lose?
The Oklahoma game in the Big 12 championship, that hurt them. And the first game of the year, they lost to a Maryland team that really wasn't that good. But that's when they were just really trying to get it put together. Right. Like, if they could go back and start that season all over again, I would think Texas may go 10, 11, 12, and 1, something like that. Maybe one ball game lost.
Well, I'm definitely happy to see that program on the rise. I know a lot of us, we have some strong emotional ties to Charlie Strong, and we want to see that brother succeed. Matter of fact, definitely a shout out to Charlie Strong, man, doing what he's doing. Where is that? I
think he's at South Florida.
South Florida. Definitely doing a good job over there, what have you. But we can't deny the fact that the Longhorns seem like they've turned the corner. Right. So shout out to those guys, man, and hopefully next season, they'll be able to continue the success and even move the needle a little bit further to do greater things in 2019. Right. Now,
I see it coming.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them?
How about them?
Hey. Okay, man. I'm going to give you my thing on the Dallas Cowboys. And, man, my whole family is Cowboys fans.
Right.
And I'm not a Cowboys hater. I want to see them win. But I'm just not. I'm a Falcons fan, and we already got slaughtered. So I want to see the Cowboys win now. But here's the thing, man. I think, and this may sound crazy, but I think a lot of the Cowboys' bad luck comes from the Cowboys fans. Because every year, man, you know what I mean? Because every year, Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Cowboys going to do this. Cowboys going to do that, man. We go back to when you just said pressure. Like, even though these guys are grown men, NFL players, man, who knows the amount of pressure is being put on them, man.
Correct.
Like, I go back to to maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago when Zeke and Dak had just came into the league. Man, them guys went what 14? Oh, they went what 14-1 or something like that.
Something like that.
And everybody, Cowboys Super Bowl, Cowboys. It was just before the season started. Cowboys going to the Super Bowl, but you didn't give that team time to even grow or even get to where they need. To give them opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. And now, man, it's almost like it's Super Bowl or nothing with them.
Right.
Every year, and that's why you can say, well, when others say Cowboys choke, I'm not gonna say they choke, but yeah, they choke. They choke. But I think, man, maybe they was able to get over that hurdle this year, and they got a playoff win up under them. Man, this may be the year. They beat the Saints once already this season, so I mean they proved that they can beat them.
Right.
Can they beat them twice, and can they beat them now when it matters? That's the question.
Well, way back in the day, when I was a young lad, I was a Cowboys fan.
Mm-hmm. The Deion and Emmitt Smith days.
Well, I go back even before then. Tom Landry, Danny White, Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, Drew Hill, all these guys. Those were the guys that I grew up watching. That's back when I was a diehard Cowboy fan. Like I said, I was a little kid. That was America's team. I can honestly tell you now that, and I joked earlier about being a Cowboys hater. I'm not a Cowboys hater. I just don't root for those guys the way that I used to, right? And I think that their biggest issue is ownership, right? I'm not a Jerry Jones fan. I don't have anything personal against the guy because I heard he does a lot of great things in the community. I just don't like how he runs the team. So it's hard for me to support those guys when I feel like the owner is out of touch with reality, right?
No, I agree.
So, my brother Charles is probably the biggest Cowboys fan that I know. We done almost came to blows over that store, all right? I'm a 49ers fan, and I don't give a damn what nobody say. They suck right now, but that's who I roll with, right? For some reason this year, I actually wouldn't mind seeing the Cowboys do something. Are they Super Bowl bound? I'm not sure. But I would like to see these guys because of Dak,
Amari Cooper,
because of Zeke, because of Cooper. I would like to see these guys make a strong run to get to the Super Bowl.
And me knowing you, I can kind of, what they had to overcome this year.
Right.
That's why I'm the same way. Man, they started off where people had counted them out. They made that Amari Cooper trade, man, and he hadn't put up great numbers, but he was able to change a lot of things for them because of matchups. You know what I mean? He had to be accounted for. And now with Tavion Austin coming back too, man, he had some big plays in last week's game.
Right.
Look, man, the Cowboys are scary, man. As much as we want to sit and say it's gonna be they choke all the time, man. That's a scary team, man. Defensively, and you're a defensive guy. You gotta love what they're doing defensively right now.
Yeah, Van Der Esch, man. I didn't, honestly, man, I've never heard of the guy until maybe a couple of weeks into the season. I was like, man, this guy's all over the field, man. Where's this guy from? And then to find out that he wasn't a very high draft pick, to my understanding, but he plays like he is. Man, he's sideline to sideline. Man, he plays with passion. And as you mentioned previously, those guys did overcome a lot to be placed in the position that they are now. They were the butt of a lot of jokes. Every time I jump on social media, man, somebody's clowning the Cowboys, right? But like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing those guys make a strong run this year. I don't know if this year is their actual year, but I wouldn't be mad to see a Texas team at the top. Now, speaking of Texas teams, there's no way that we can talk about the Cowboys without talking about the Houston Texans. Give me your thoughts on the Houston Texans, man.
Okay. It's almost like it was black and white or the opposites. Like it was like just complete opposite this year. Cowboys, they struggled. They was able to turn it around. Boom. Texas, man, they was beating everybody.
Right.
After they lost the first 3 games, they ended up what? They went 7 or 8 in a row.
They won 8 in a row, I believe.
And
8-2 over a 10-game stretch.
If you want to talk about choking this year, I mean, the choker boy got to go to the Texans. You know, it's got to go to the Texans, man.
I got to give you my best Denny Green impression. They are who we thought they were.
That's what it is.
Right?
That's what it is.
Because, look, man, I'm a Houston Oilers
fan.
Man.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the Oilers are the same as the Texans, man. So I ain't gonna lie to you.
The Oilers, the Titans.
Well, that's what I mean, though, right? So I've had a hard time latching on to the Texans. We don't have a professional football team in San Antonio, so it's either, you know, if you want to support a Texas team, it's either gonna be the Texans or it's gonna be the Cowboys. In my opinion, both these guys had owners with questionable, you know, ethics when it came to dealing with our kind of folks, right?
Right.
So,
right.
You know, but with that being said, I'm a huge Deshaun Watson fan, supporter. I love what the guy does in the community. I'm a huge fan of Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the makeup of players the Texans got, I love them. The makeup of their players, hey, man, I love those guys, man. Deshaun Watson, man, you would think I hate him the way he did us in the national championship a couple years ago. But no, man, I love him for what he did to us in the national championship, man. That guy proved that he's a baller. Now, when I say choke, I don't want people to start taking that a certain way, because the thing is this, man, that guy's only a rookie, right? Or this is second? That's his second season.
Yes,
this is second season. But basically a rookie because he got hurt his first season, didn't play as much. So this is his first season, man, and he did get you guys into the playoffs. You know what I mean? He didn't have horrible numbers.
Right.
I think he went like 29 for 49 for like 280 yards or something like that pass, and had 1 interception. But, man, that's not bad for, you know, your first playoff start.
Right.
Man, I was looking at his stats. He hardly loses, man, from when he started from high school to college. And even like to the NFL, he hadn't lost many games in the NFL. He didn't win the big one yet. But his first year playing against Alabama, he didn't win that one either. The next year he came back and he gave Alabama the business. Right. So, you know, give this guy a chance, give him time, man, and things may start to turn around for Houston. The Colts, like, man, they came out of nowhere, man.
Right.
I didn't see that happening.
Man, look, hey, not to cut you off, man. I wrote Andrew Luck off, man.
Yeah.
When he got hurt, I honestly thought he came into the league kind of overrated, right? I mean, strong arm, but it didn't seem like, you know, his motivation for playing didn't seem like it was enough for me, right? Man, after watching him this past weekend, I got to say the dude is sharp, man.
Oh, yeah.
The dude is sharp. Yeah. I watched him the first couple of drives down the field, man, and I said, this guy is on. He's on fire today. There's no way the Texans win today. So you got to give a shout out to the Colts for overcoming adversity, right? If I'm not mistaken, they went 9-1 their last 10 games. That's, you know, that says a lot about the character and the mental fortitude of that group. Now,
Colts and Cowboys kind of in the same situation.
So, definitely, big props to the Colts. I'm not a Colts fan by any stretch of the imagination. You know, hopefully they get blew out the next round.
They go back to me, huh? Hey, when you know what though, as I think about it, the Colts may be the team, and I'm gonna go and say it right now. They may be the team to come out of the AFC.
It's possible.
And I'm going to say, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to think about what they had to overcome this year, too, and the way they just beat the Texans and how they're rolling right now.
Right.
If you can go back, I think 2008 season or 2009, whichever, when the Patriots was 15-0 going into the Super Bowl.
Right.
And they played a Giants team that was like 8-6 or 9-6.
Barely got in
and beat them. Colts may pull off. And Cowboys, there may be 2 teams like that in the Super Bowl this year. Who knows?
They've always said the team with the hottest quarterback going into the playoffs is a team probably to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Luck is arguably one of the hottest quarterbacks still in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They have a shot. T.Y. Hilton, man, dude is just a playmaker, man.
Yeah.
Dude is just a playmaker. So, definitely that's gonna be a huge game for them. But we'll get into the predictions, a little bit later on. All right. So we definitely
I'm already
gonna
be 1-0 after tomorrow when Bama wins. So after tonight, I'll be 1-0 on the predictions.
Well, I tell you what, if you, for whatever reason, you don't win, the credibility that I get for Clemson winning should at least put me up 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I got you.
All right?
Okay.
Now,
Court.
I tell you what, man. I can't say that I'm a Spurs fanatic. I'm a Spurs fan, but I'm not a fanatic. All right, so let me explain the difference in my opinion. I will root for the Spurs regardless of who they go against. See, I grew up as a Chicago Bulls fan.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, all those guys. That's who I grew up watching. At one point in time, I want to be like Mike.
Mm-hmm.
As short as I am, want to be like Mike.
Who didn't?
Right? As a San Antonio native, we got spoiled. We got spoiled because just like Nick Saban with Alabama, the Spurs have always been in the thick of things.
Mm-hmm.
May not win every year,
Mm-hmm.
but you know that
They
they're going to be there contending for the ship. You know it. Little old San Antonio will be in consideration for a championship as long as Greg Popovich is coaching. Doesn't matter whether it was Avery Johnson at the point.
Shout out to Avery Johnson, man, Alabama coach now, man.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the Alabama head coach.
Man, that's what's up, man. Little old Avery. Look, man, I used to get teased, man, when I was a kid, man, or younger.
Used to
Man,
be a
you
little
look
Avery.
just like, yeah, man. Me and dude don't look nothing alike, man. But I guess we just short, dark-skinned brothers or what have you. But, definitely Avery Johnson, man, is as tough as they come, man. But the whole point that I'm saying is this, man. As a city, we got spoiled because it didn't matter who the Spurs drafted. Half these guys the Spurs draft, we never heard of them before.
Mm-hmm.
Pop wasn't going after the big names. He was going after the guys that could actually play.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a little bit wiser than the average person when it comes to basketball IQ. Right? The whole Kawhi situation is probably one of the only negatives that I have when it comes to Pop. I felt like Pop had more influence on Kawhi than anyone else, right? That includes that includes Kawhi's
uncle, whoever was.
Uncle,
right?
entourage, mama, whoever, right? Because Pop is that guy. The reason why I love Pop as a person, I don't give a damn, but Pop never won another basketball game. Pop is the type of guy, man, that when you need somebody to be by your side, he's there, right? When we got all the madness going on in the country, man, Pop gonna stand up and he gonna let you know what side of the fence he stands on.
Mm-hmm. The Spurs, and the reason why we have a lot of success in basketball, because we not one of the
Ain't nowhere to go down here, man.
Right.
The Spurs ain't getting in no trouble.
Right.
Man.
They won the city, man. We're not expecting much, but
right.
they
we
go out
we
and
don't
put
have
in
no R.
work.
Kellys on the
Right.
Spurs team, right?
I hope no team having no R. Kellys on it. But
hey, allegedly, we don't know if that's
man.
true or not, man.
Look, well, OJ was alleged too until they found him not guilty. But we all know,
right?
You know what I mean? OJ killed them folks, man.
Hey, look, matter of fact, we will be discussing the R. Kelly docuseries, hopefully on the next episode.
I
man.
got a lot to talk about that, bro. I got a lot.
And I think a lot of people want to hear about that, man. So, we'll definitely be talking about that on the next episode, in addition to a couple other hot topics. So you definitely want to make sure that you tune in for our next week's episode. However, we will be airing on Tuesdays from this point moving forward, right? We want to make sure that we're able to stay abreast of all of the hot topics over the weekends and keep you guys informed and give you our professional takes and opinions. Next week, we will also recap the Alabama-Clemson game. You know, we'll also recap the NFL playoffs. You know, like I said, we will be discussing the R. Kelly docuseries. So this is not just a sports show, man. We want you guys to understand that, man. This is a hot topic type of show.
And me knowing this guy, we will be discussing Donald Trump a lot.
Man, look, F Donald Trump, man. I'm going to say that right now. I don't care who he is at. You know, I'm not a fan of his. But we will have objective takes on some of his policies and some of the things that he has going on. So, you know, we definitely want to make sure that you guys staying tuned in. You can follow us on Instagram at thefred.mo.show or what have you. We'll get all that stuff up, man. We're still in the process of building up all our social media stuff or what have you. But, you know, definitely there will be links and we will be putting stuff out on social media so that you guys can stay in tune with what we have going on.